There guys, Portal Master 9351 here, and I apologize for lack of videos lately, but I have got the most exciting news. We have a leak of a brand new Skylander for Skylanders 5, but I can't show him to you. Same reason I couldn't show you the comic book, or the comic book prequel. I know I was eventually able to show you that one, but I don't think I'm going to be able to eventually show you this one, guys. However, there's a loophole. I have drawn this character on a piece of paper. I have drawn to the best of my ability. I'm a horrible artist as far as drawing is concerned. Now, I do sculpting, but I can't draw. I can't draw very well. So I've done my best to visually recreate this for you. There's a loophole that allows me to draw it, and Activision shouldn't be able to copyright strike me just for drawing it. So I've got it split into 3 pieces. I have the body, the wings, and the base. And why are those important? I think you'll see. So here it is, and I've kind of annotated it. So right here, you can see what appears to be, like, this is a serpentine body. That's what it appeared to be, like that. Like a salamander, maybe, on fire. A salamander on fire. Right here, it appeared to have some armor put on it right there on its elbow and mid-arm, and it's bent right there, and then it had, like, 3 or 4 claw-like fingers on it. The other arm appeared to have a bulkier piece of armor, almost like a Mega Man hand cuff type arm piece. And then he had 3 giant claws that jutted out from there. From there, his head appeared to have some form of mask, as these things right here curved backwards. It looks bat-like in this rendition of it, but it looked very serpentine-like in actuality. It did resemble a bat slightly, however. So, let's look at this. What else did I mention on here? I'm sorry I can't look in the iPad because it's backwards. This is synthetic. This probably is not his real arm, so that's probably worth mentioning. So there's that. We'll come back to the base. Here is his wing. This is where it attaches to his body, and he has 2 of them. So it's kind of got like this little, it's got these rivets in this little metal bracket at the top of them. And so, what's this say? Engines. It has some type of engine or afterburner, possibly, on the top of the wings. And then it's got a screw right there with some rivets on the side of it, and this thing is bolted down. And then we have a cooling spot here. This was all on fire, but it did almost look feathery. And there's a possibility it wasn't a natural wing, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Because this is just what I know. I'm about to talk about the speculation. This is the base. It was a fire Skylander. So, it had, it had the traditional fire Skylander base. But it honestly was the size of 2 bases of a Trapmaster put together, like it was a square almost, not a rectangle like this is. This is almost rectangular in fashion, but it was more of a square shaped. So like this big, it was a pretty big base from what I could tell. It took up like a big, it was, the pictures that were taken were on a guy's keyboard. I'll talk about where it was found too, and sort of get into that in a minute. But, so on this fire base, it was not a traditional fire base. Imagine a U-shaped thing. So it kind of was a fire, imagine a fire base, just flat, completely flat. And then on the sides, it was raised, and in the back, it was raised. But in the front, it was completely flat yet again. So you basically have this little sliding, slot-like thing. Now, in that, imagine you put another base, and the top of this base looks like a V8 engine. So we have a fire base with an engine inside of the fire base. And the Skylander is sitting on top of this engine. huh? What? And in the front, it gets weirder. This gets weirder. And now you think, Portal Master, you've gone crazy. You're lying to us. There's no way this is true. But I want to tell you guys, have I ever lied to you before? I didn't lie about the comic. I didn't lie about Trap Team. I didn't lie about whatever else that I haven't lied about. I'm not kidding, guys. This is the real deal. So, in the front, so you can see on the Swap Force character that he has, on Spyraz, that he has this little emblem. So imagine that on the front of this little V8 engine thing that pops up above the base. So we already have a base in a base. And so from there, we have this little round indentation, almost the size of a Swap Force label. It looked like a button. I don't know if you can press it or anything. It did not have any insignia on it like these do. These have an obvious insignia. Now, there are two possibilities. One, it's a prototype. Well, hold on. It is a prototype. This character is a prototype. The figure itself was not actually painted, and you could very clearly see the RFID chip, and I'll talk about that more in 1 second. This little round thing on top of this engine, like this. See, you can see this button. So, like, base, engine, button. Excuse me. There are two possibilities. Because the rest of the figure is not painted, it's possible that there's an insignia that goes on there that's not been painted on there yet. Sort of like the Swap Force emblems. That's option one. Option two is, because it's a prototype, it's supposed to be a button that you press, and this secondary base can slide out from under the original base. Those are the two possibilities that we're facing here. Now, again, prototype, unpainted. Who knows? I don't know. But we have to think about this. What's the name of the prequel comic? Rift into Overdrive. Overdrive. What do people usually associate with Overdrive? Machines. What is the Skylander? Practically half machine already. Mechanical wings, almost like that of like Shine Greymon, Rise Greymon, and some other Digimon. It's reminiscent of a Digimon, I'll tell you that. This character. And the bottom of the base had a 2015 thing on it. I think that's probably worth mentioning. So, what are we talking about here? We're talking about a character that is half machine and half Skylander, or possibly a sentient machine that is... Because it's quite possible that these wings are not real and that the rest of him is not real, but in fact created by machines that create like a flame body. Sort of like how Swarm is not one thing. He's a bunch of things. He's a bunch of bees, essentially, that form into one thing. It's possible. Sorry guys, haven't had that happen in a really long time. Ran out of memory. I haven't deleted any of my videos from the past month. So those were all on my iPad. Cleared them up now. Got this working again. As I was saying, though, it's quite a possibility that this thing is literally, or not literally, but an embodiment of fire. Basically a sentient fire of sorts. That would make sense. But more than likely, it's just his wings that aren't real. And he has some other prosthetic features. But the fact that he's sitting on an engine makes it all the more interesting. A long time ago, I had a theory that perhaps when we originally thought that Trap Team, when we saw those little vehicles for Trap Team, that we thought that maybe Trap Team would have vehicles. I thought that the way it would work is that you would have the vehicle, and you would put the vehicle on the portal. And alone, the vehicle, let's just use this 3DS as an example. So alone, the vehicle doesn't register. It has a booster chip, if you will, like a power disc from Infinity, that doesn't really do much of anything. So, I mean, I know the power discs do something, but just imagine like a power disc with an RFID chip in it, but that doesn't actually play on its own. But you place the Skylander on it, and now, all of a sudden, it recognizes that there is a Skylander and a chip in this thing being registered. And now, the Skylander is using the vehicle. I had a theory about that a long time ago, and honestly, it looks like this could be making that theory a reality. It appears that if this truly is a button, and you can slide the secondary base off the primary base, this could mean one of two things, if that's the case. It could mean that either we can switch elemental bases, which is basically just like Swap Force, lamer version of Swap Force. So I don't think that's going to be the case. But if we can slide the RFI, the secondary base off the primary base, then perhaps we can put it then in the car or the vehicle or whatever it is, and it registers it as a car or as the Skylander being in the vehicle. Now, you're probably thinking there, Portal Master, a racing game. Obviously, this has got to be a racing game, and I don't think so. I don't know if you remember those Zuzu pet things. I think that's what they were called, those little hamster gerbil thingies that you would press a button and they would zoom around. You may remember that they released a line of figures called Kung Zu. Bear with me here. In the Kung Zu, you would play with them as a normal Zuzu pet. And then you would swipe them over a card and they would go into samurai ninja mode, or whatever you'd call it. And you equipped them with gear. And they sort of became like a jousting vehicle with swords on one side and something. And so I'm sort of thinking maybe we could see this. So like you have a sort of, imagine a horse and buggy normally. And then you put the Skylander in there and all of a sudden it becomes, especially if it's this flaming guy, it becomes a flaming chariot of fire. Looks like Apollo's chariot, and you can shoot fireballs from it, and stuff like that. And then you say, well, no, now I want it to be a water vehicle. So you take this Skylander back out, slide it into his original base, pull a water Skylander off its base, and you put it in there, and all of a sudden, you have this underwater, you have this thing being pulled by seahorses that can shoot bubble beams and water blasts. Maybe something like that. I don't know. It's strange. These figures are strange. I don't know at this point. We have a lot more details left. But I want to say one more thing. Odds are that this is a starter pack character. Wait, let me get to that in a second. I almost forgot to mention that in the pictures I saw, we got a shot from the bottom. And I don't know if you know this. I keep having to get up. But if you look in this Dragon's Peak, if you hold it up to a light and you look through the water, you can see the RFID chip in the water of the base of the toy. I don't know if you can maybe see it. See, do I have a flashlight in here, maybe? Sorry, I don't have a flashlight, but maybe. Well, no, that's too bright. You'll have to take my word for it. If you have a Dragon's Peak, just hold it up to the light, and you can see the little RFID chip in there. So, it appears that the RFID chip wasn't in the regular orange base like it normally is, or in the fire base. It appeared to be in the motor looking part of it, which supports the theory of removable Skylanders from their base. So, I don't know. But as I was saying, probably a starter pack character, because the way this was found, it was found in a Mexican toy shop. Somewhere down in Mexico. I don't know where. And so, it was from the United States. But the United States, wherever it came from, got it from China. So, basically, China shipped it to America. And then, wherever it came from in America, shipped it. So, probably like a warehouse or something, shipped it to Mexico. What's wrong with that? What do you hear that's wrong with that? China shipped it to America, and then America shipped it off to Mexico. What's wrong with that? China shipped it here, so why would we send it to Mexico? This is strange. I don't know why, if a warehouse or something got these unfinished, because they were unfinished. These were prototypes. So I don't understand how these things ended up in the streets. And so I want all you guys to take this with a grain of salt, because there's a good chance that even though I've told the truth and I've seen this figure, it's actually a good possibility that this figure is not real. It's a possibility. And so I want you to take that, I want you to take all this news with a grain of salt. Everything I've told you is the truth. Everything. But this figure might not be real, and that's also the truth. And so a guy basically found like 3 of these and bought them and took them home and took pictures of them, and then he posted them on the Skylanders subsection of Reddit. Someone found it in the Toys and Merchandise section of Dark Spyro and posted it there. Or someone found it on Reddit and posted it in Dark Spyro. So that's how I found out about it. Just wanted you guys to know all about this figure, because it might be real, it might not be real, but either way, it's getting me really excited for Skylanders 5. And so, we're honestly running out of time for them to reveal it. And so, I just want to close with this. Out of all the days, the 22nd makes the most sense. Tomorrow is a Friday, and I doubt they do it tomorrow without any fanfare. They might announce that they're going to announce it tomorrow. And they might say that they're going to send out invitations tomorrow. And then it's probably going to be for the 22nd. But why the 22nd? Memorial Day weekend, people. It's Memorial Day weekend. It just makes sense. Because if not the 22nd, it's going to be the 29th. And that's right before the 3rd, which is when we know it's going to have to be revealed before. Because there's that magazine in Germany that's going to be releasing some news about the new game on the 3rd. So, we'll see. I just wanted you guys to know this, and this has been Portal Master 9351. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time, everybody. Goodbye!